first block this morning that it seems like yesterday was August. And when things go by very quickly, the tendency is you're not able to focus as well as you should or you could. If you're going by on the street and you're going by at 50 miles per hour, are you able to see clearly the things on the side? And that's how this year seems to have been. So, the title of the speech is called Loosen Focus, and things that we ought to do to help us to not lose focus as we go. Many of us are seniors and are juniors, and we need to understand how it is that we can remain focused. But before I get into that, these are some of the thoughts that I want to share with the class as in the second semester. Time did not permit, and the people who have had me 2 and 3 years, they would have heard some of these, but there are 3 new ones which are quite good. And if you follow me on Twitter, then you would have seen them already, 2 of them at least. So you'd be like, I saw that before. But first, whatever you are filled with will be spilled when you're bumped. If you're filled with love, when you're bumped, that's what's going to come out. Culture is an attempt to find a coherent set of answers for the existential questions that confront us through the passage of our lives. When you give somebody your word, it is like when you give somebody your word, it is like taking your life and cupping it in your hand. And should you let that word fall through, you will look down and not find yourself there. As painful as it is, truth by definition is exclusive. It is not the unavailability of truth that is our problem today. Rather, it is the hypocrisy of our search. Truthfulness in the heart precedes truthfulness in objective reality. In other words, intent is prior to content. If you're truthful in your search, well, put it another way, you're going to find what you're looking for. If you're really looking for truth, you will find it. If you're not trying to find truth, you will not find it. I oftentimes say that someone will retort to me that there is no such thing as absolute truth. I like that comment because I know it's false from its inception. Because if there's no such thing as absolute truth, then what that person's saying is not absolute either. So just for you to remember, because you will hear it as you go into the university realm. An opinion is merely a preference amongst a continuum of options. Okay? You may prefer one thing today and it switches tomorrow. A conviction is a deep-rooted belief that cannot change without changing the person. If a conviction changes, something in you has changed. When a ship goes on the seas, it must answer 3 fundamental questions. 1, why is it out there in the first place? That's called essential ethics. 2, how to keep from sinking? That is called personal ethics. 3, how to keep from bumping into other ships? That is called relational ethics. If we're going to live successful lives, we have to balance those 3 things. Personal ethics, relational ethics, and essential ethics. One of the all-time favorites, the law of the harvest. The law of the harvest guarantees 3 possible outcomes, 3 inevitable outcomes. 1, you reap what you sow. 2, you reap later than you sow. 3, you reap more than you sow. I recall one student calling me after she went to university, and she said, "That is absolutely true." I wasn't surprised, because I know it's true. I use myself as as an example. I have sewn here at Coral Park for 14 years. And in the midst of the sowing, many times, you don't see the fruit of your labor. But a farmer doesn't plant tomorrow what he's going to reap yesterday. Just stop and let that sink into your thinking. The reaping is always after the sowing. If you reap before you've sown, something strange has occurred. That could be so. Goodness is the natural outworking of believing the truth. Wickedness is the natural outworking of believing a lie. I just pause and I think about UC Santa Barbara. Anyone who watches the news, you know what occurred over there. When someone does something that is heinous, they have believed a lie. A crisis does not create character. It only reveals what is already there. Prosperity does not simplify life. Suffering does. If someone is prosperous, their life is complicated. Don't believe me? Go to Hollywood and ask them. Suffering, you just want to get through tomorrow and see tomorrow. Suffering simplifies life. Prosperity complicates life. If you have to do the wrong thing to stay on the team, then you're on the wrong team. Get off that team or clean it up. If you have to do the wrong thing to stay on the team, then get off that team or clean it up. Some thoughts that you are going to want to take with you as you go off into the summer, and points beyond. Now, a life that loses its focus does not occur overnight. Similarly to how, on my way to school for the past 2 days, I have seen this car. It's a Toyota Solara. I think it was like 2003 or 2002. I'm not sure because they look similar. But it's on the side of the road because the tire blew out. Most tire failures do not occur overnight. It's a slow, sometimes lethal process. And then it explodes. When a life loses its focus, you may not crash immediately, but the seeds that will cause your life to crash have been sown. And if those weeds are not uprooted, then you will suffer the consequences of that later.